Welcome back to another episode of JAtalks. My name is Jasam, and we will be going through all of what happened last week, Friday, when the country had a blackout. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back with more.
Just some productions. Presents JAtalks. Director Jasam in the building. Policy, politics, current affairs. Let's go. From the hills of Manchester to the world stage. We turning the leaf, we opening the page. No smiling dentist talk, we keep it real and raw. The truth about the island, from the mountain to the shore. We walk about policy, we talk about politics. Current affairs, we give you all the facts, no tricks. Parliament clash or the latest news trend. JAtalks at the place where the message transcend. JAtalks, we attack the truth. JAtalks, inspiring the youth, substance over style, making nation wise. Open up your ears and open up your eyes. Hit the red button, make the community grow. Like the video now, so the world can know. Hit the bell, don't miss a beat, no delay. JAtalks, the only voice you need today.
Subscribe to the JAtalks movement. Remember, your independence is the foundation of your liberation. So now, we had the big blackout that took place last week, Friday. Now, during the dark, while I was... This was actually at 9... For me, the report says it's 9:02. For me, it was 9:05 a.m. on the Friday night on the eve of my birthday. It happened, and I was like, what? I was not very happy, but I pursued, and I was even able to create a video. I dropped a video. The last video I did actually was in the dark. Well, I did the video in the dark, and I had to use like the data on my phone to really upload it. Yeah, because we never have the light. Light came back around 3:45 a.m. I remember, because obviously it was my birthday. And yes, thank you for asking. I don't know about that, but I fully enjoyed myself on my birthday. But yes, I am fully back right now, and I wanted to really dive into what would have taken place and what happened, um, as the country is fully aware. So essentially, what would have happened was that a series of lightning strikes would have taken place on JPS's power stations, and that was what would have taken place as to why the entire country went dark. And on my previous video, I indicated that in a sense, right, one of the challenges is that um, it is basically saying that we are not we don't have multiple grids. We're not decentralized. We're still centralized. And one of the things it highlighted, right? Because again, this was not a hurricane. This was not, any natural disaster. Yes, the lightning strike could be what is categorized as an act of God. I fully understand that. However, at the same time, again, this is not a hurricane. During Hurricane Melissa, persons in Kingston had electricity. During Hurricane Beryl, persons also had electricity. If the island-wide blackout took place during a hurricane, I would understand, a lot of Jamaicans would understand, and we will look past it. This didn't happen during a hurricane. This happened during an island-wide blackout. Hence, I'm doing a normal day. Like, and the first time lightning have been a strike. You understand? And so there has to be things put in place for that. I guess, no, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna make it look like say me know everything and we understand the technicalities of what would have taken place with JPS. No, I do not. I do not understand the technicalities that took place with JPS, but however, at the same time, what I know, what is the fact, is that this is embarrassing. This is a national embarrassment. How is it that the entire country go dark? How? How? So, what is important? And again, unfortunately, we are a reactive country. We are. And so we are reacting. But this has happened in the past. I recall, I think, don't quote me this, but 2011, I believe we had an island blackout. I was told the last time this really happened was in 2016. I don't remember that, but we had an island-wide blackout in 2016 as well. And I'm saying all of this to say this is not the first time this is happening, right? Is it that your strategy was to just reinforce what is already there? So, for example, if you have something that is faulty, let me see if I can find an example, right? Um, okay, so I can't think of an example off the top of my head right now, but let's just say you have something, right, that is there, right? Right, so let's just say you have a road, right, and there's a pothole, and every minute you come and you're putting marl in the first, and then put a thin layer of asphalt in it. Hurricane come, weather come, it dig out the back. You put back the thin layer of, you put the marl in it and the thin layer of asphalt in it, and it happens again. It is going to repeat itself. You understand? If you do the same thing, the same result is going to come back. And the aim and the purpose of this is to ensure that it does not happen again. We understand that light goes away. You understand? We understand that because obviously, if you don't live in Jamaica, everybody knows it. Every now and then light go away. You understand? Normally, when we have an outage, JPS would make the announcement, and if there is something wrong with the system, it's a one-off situation. However, the for the entire country to be offline, for the entire country to be majorly affected, something is gravely wrong, and that is an embarrassment. And I like one or pockets of places that took place, the entire country. Now I'm fully aware of the fact that I believe it was Tuesday gone, or Monday, one of the two. There were several places across the country that JPS, again following the Friday night blackout, that did not have electricity as well. That one, I think that one is being highlighted. That news specifically is being highlighted based off the fact that a Friday is total blackout. But I mean, having an outage in multiple different parts of the country is not the same thing as to having an island-wide blackout. You understand? So when you have so if there was no island-wide blackout that took place, Tuesday's report of the multiple different pockets of places that didn't have electricity that happened would not be such a surprise. It would just be another Tuesday because this is not the first. We are used to this. But I feel like that news specifically has been highlighted because of Friday. No, anytime like God, no, we're going to pan JPS. Like, you understand? I believe it is going to be next year that the energy minister, he would have indicated that the contract with JPS will not be renewed. They have to change up the terms and conditionalities because really and truly this don't make no sense. And especially with what has been taking place, I fully support it. A lot of persons during Hurricane Melissa were adamant or upset towards the government, stating that they should not have let them 150 million USD, na so? Yeah. To restore back the electricity. They should not have done that. A lot of persons would have opposed to that. But what persons need to understand about that was the fact that JPS was using the Hurricane Melissa as leverage and as reason, stating that because of the situation and the severity of the hurricane, they would not be able to fully meet all the criteria. Therefore, it's as if they were trying to coerce the government or provide reasons as to why they need to keep the license or maintain the same agreement, electricity license agreement with the government, basically. That is what would have happened. So they were using it as leverage to ensure that nothing changes, basically. So the same old, same old. And so the government had to use that as an owner reverse onto JPS to ensure that, hey, come 2027, come hell or high water, the agreement has to change. You understand? Come hell and high water, it has to change. That's why they let them the $150 million. Now, a lot of persons were upset about this, but in light of what would have taken place on Friday, looking back on it, it makes sense. In light of the island-wide blackout, looking back at it, it makes absolute total sense that the government did this because again we're going to end the same foolishness with JPS having total monopoly on the entire market. We have been with JPS for decades, and we need something better. We need something new. Before, in the telecommunications market, it was just cable and wireless. And then when digital came, they changed the trajectory of the telecommunications market. There needs to be some form of competition in the market to ensure that companies provide good services to its customer base. When you have one company having a monopoly over the market, anything goes. Thank God. I will say this, and when I love semi cost the government, right? Cool. Well, I'm going to give Darrell Vaz his props because he is one of the ministers who actively defends the Jamaican people, especially when it comes to the concept of energy. He is an active defendant of the Jamaican people. Let me give the Jamaican government their props when it comes on to energy. A lot of persons I recognize what did that cause the advancement. I understand why when I cause the advancement on social media, that never make no sense because at the end of the day, Davos is not JPS. Davos doesn't work for JPS, and he held JPS accountable. What is the problem? So I never really understand why persons were up in arms and in argument with Davos. Unacceptable. Like, are you dumb? That never really made no sense. You understand? But yeah, I will give the energy minister his props because he ensures to have the best interest of Jamaica when it comes on to energy. He does. I will give him his props. So far, I have not found anything or any issues so far with Darrell Vaz, and I will give him his props here. Because here at JAtalks, what I try to do, what I will maintain, because a lot of persons I will just do will come and will cost government. And yes, I do hold the government accountable. And yes, I come and I cost them when I'm ready. However, at the same time, it cannot be that you're just only focusing on the negative and ignoring the positives that they do. And when they do right, I will just as how I totally lambast them when we're ready. Just as how I do that, the same energy I do that with is the same energy I also have to give the government when they do right, when they do good. And so this is an opportunity to give the Ministry of Energy and Transport their flowers, as to congratulate them as to the hard work that they have been doing for the country and for the people of Jamaica and representing the people of Jamaica. I give you that. Now, and another thing as well, I need to point out that and why this is important and why this is embarrassing, especially when it comes down to losing energy and having an island-wide blackout, right? Is the fact that because we are now moving closer and more into the digital economy. What I am doing right now, posting on YouTube, posting on TikTok, posting on Instagram, I'm utilizing digital platforms to put my product, which is my YouTube videos and my analysis and my content and my experience. This is a part of the digital economy. And so there are hundreds, if not thousands, I don't know the accurate, I'm going to put it in the thousands. There are thousands of Jamaicans who are a part of the digital economy. And so how do you explain or what do you say to someone who is working with international clients when the light goes out? And so they lose internet, you lose power. How does that work? You understand? It makes you seem unreliable. And so a lot of Jamaicans on Friday night would have lost thousands, if not millions of dollars, because of this grave inconvenience. Persons would have lost money. That is how important this is when it comes on to the electricity and power. I want to pivot though, because at the end of the day, what we all have to understand, if you are a Jamaican person living in Jamaica, you must know that JPS is unstable. And is it that you're going to sit down and solely and wholly depend on JPS? If you do that, you're going to lose, and you're going to continue to lose money, and you're going to be deemed as untrustworthy. And so it is important that yes, there's not while we have the electricity and while JPS is supposed to maintain a high standard, right? At the end of the day, there are really and truly things that are outside of JPS's control. And so while I can point to, for example, to say that is embarrassing, again, in the event of a hurricane, these things are out of the control of JPS. So in the event of a natural disaster, what is important and what's paramount is that we put things in place and measures in place so that we have alternative sources of electricity, so that when things happen, you can still stay connected. And when I say alternative sources of electricity, a lot of the times we automatically think about quote unquote Delco generator, electricity generator. But you know, in Jamaica, we call it everything Delco, which Delco is the brand, right? And a generator, realistically speaking, there's some Jamaicans who really can't afford that. So I'm not even going to go the Delco way, because separate from that, if we look at what is happening in Cuba, where they have no energy, God forbid what is something like that is supposed to happen in Jamaica, where, or for example, look at the Strait of Hormuz and the war we're going right now, and so gas prices are go up, right? A generator uses gas to run. So 6.5 dozen of the other. So me have a look this. So furthermore, a generator expensive. And so we have to have different things, and we have to become creative. It is time we move away from the traditional candle and kerosene lamp, because again, and I'm not saying that you should not or you should totally abandon those things. No, that is not what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is, in 2026, as a country, especially a country that is prone to hurricanes, not just for this is not just specifically for persons who are working in the digital economy, but also persons who just want light, or just want to browse, or just you understand, who just want to be connected to the rest of the world. We cannot be depending solely and wholly on candle and lamp. This is not the 1960s. This is 2026. So you need to have alternative sources of electricity in the meantime while you're waiting on JPS to restore back the electricity for you. And I, as a policy writer, I took the liberty of trying to get some information when it comes on to these alternative sources. So, there, for example, we have the writer wrote a mini UPS rather. Now, what this does actually, so seemingly this, when as soon as the electricity goes out, it keeps your modem, whether you get your modem, your internet from Flow or digital, it keeps your modem running for 6 hours. So let us say you're in a meeting and you're speaking with clients abroad, or you're even not for we our customer service employees who work from home, who work directly with the clients, right? And like goes away. You understand? Even if that happens, you have a good 6 hours. You can let the person. So let's say you're in a meeting. I hope your meeting don't cut. Well, who knows? Maybe some people meeting last 6 hours for true. But on average, people are not gonna last 6 hours. Most people are meeting not gonna last 6 hours. At least you are able to wrap it up. You understand? And if you have something happening or due, you can let them know, the client know, so that you don't just cut off or disappear abruptly. So that is one thing that is actually being sold. So an average price for that is $22. That is 1,850 to 3,400 Jamaican dollars. You can get this on AliExpress. This is cheap. This is affordable rather than buying a $100,000, $150,000 generator. You know, so like how in the hurricane season, generators are going to, because of the demand now. You know, so those things go up and are getting very expensive. So this is something that you can take advantage of. This is on AliExpress. This is on Shein. This is on Amazon. $22. A call center worker can buy this. Another thing as well, the 65 watt PD laptop power banks as well. So this is a power bank that you can use. This the average price for this is actually $49 or $50. In Jamaican dollars, it's going to be $5,000 to $7,000, right? This is another great thing as well. 65-watt power delivery bank to keep the laptop workstation fully juiced. Look at that. Look at that. So you're working from home, and I think, and I don't know, I try to keep my computer plugged in most of the time. So I will let you remember, say, most people, providing that your computer is working fully, their battery can last them a couple hours without being plugged in. So separate from that, you now also have your you also have a backup. You can complete your shift. What I mean? Another thing as well is the magnetic rechargeable LED light bar. So this is specifically electricity. Now this, well, not electricity rather, but light. This is specifically light. Now you can get this again, and this is actually very cheap. $6. You can get it for $900, $1,000, $1,500. Cheap, cheap, cheap. And I'm saying, so for example, um again, this is not, I'm not gonna say you shouldn't get it. Get it, no problem. Right? Because I mean, especially when you want like a bright light for certain work that you're doing, you may need this as well. Um, for me, I think I may get one, but it's not something. Oh, I need to get a lot because yeah, you can use your Kanga lamp. Kerosene lamp. I recall from myself during the hurricane. Me not tell a lie. Me used to watch me did watch my show, and my tablet was fully charged, and I did watch my anime. Thankfully, no, Flow and Digicel, they improved from berries. So during Melissa, me have my kerosene or a lamp while I had my tablet and I was watching shows. Me never really need a light as long as me have access to my entertainment. You understand? So yes, you should still get this. Is still important depending on what you're doing. For me, I would get it, but I'm not so crazy about it. That's fine. Finally, though, you also have the compact solar generator. This is on Sheen. This is on AliExpress, and this is 150-watt model as well. What is this? This is basically a solar generator. So instead of getting a gas generator, you can get a solar generator. This is for $60 to $90 USD. So in Jamaican currency, this is what, 9,000 to 14,000, $15,000. This is by far cheaper than um an actual generator. You use gas. People at 2026 though, we have to change up our strategy. Currency now work. So if you're a lot of these things a minimum wage earner can get. A lot of these things are call center worker, and because I try to get things that the lowest common denominator can get. Me no want nothing where, oh my gosh, it's out of my reach. No, because one of the things I don't like is when, or annoys me, is when persons talk like, oh, you can get this for easy, and when you look, it's so expensive, and the average Jamaican cannot get it. The average person can't get it. No, right? So separate from what should I say? The blackout, right? Hurricane gonna come. The reality is Jamaica, we're going to have more hurricane in the future. Right? Let us pray we don't have none this year. Cause we get Beryl and we get Melissa, we're tired, we're stressed out. You understand? But the reality is we are going to have more hurricanes in the future. It cannot be we're still at this stage, we're still reacting. And Hurricane Gilbert was supposed to be the first for us in civilized Jamaica, was supposed to be the first wake up call. But instead, Ivan come, Hurricane Dean come, and some other hurricanes came. Melissa came, and Beryl came, and we're still learning over and over again. It's like we not learn, we not understand, we not get it. We still in shock every time a hurricane come. We still not get it. You understand? We are at the start of the hurricane season, guys. And so, separate from that, it is important to ensure that you have the ability to have generators, have backup power systems, and you're not depending solely and only on JPS. They're not reliable. You understand? And separate from them not being reliable, things happen out of their control because the lightning, which person says is an act of God, it is classified legally as an act of God that had the entire, even though, yes, JPS was supposed to have a decentralized system, and I hold them to account for that, they didn't cause the lightning to happen. So, again, you cannot be dependent on JPS in order to just do business. No, especially if you are a content creator, especially if you work from home, especially if you are a part of the digital economy. You cannot, you should not be depending on JPS. These are affordable ways that you can utilize, that you can take advantage of, so that in the future, God's willing, when the light goes away, you will be productive. So these are things. Look into this, everyone. Thank you very much for another episode. This is another episode of JAtalks. I thank everybody for their support. And yes, always remember, please never forget that your independence is the foundation of your liberation. Walk good, Jamaica.